cleared La Paz Harbor. That's their power station right there, services La Paz. And that is the harbor way back there. And we are going up to that landmass up there, which is the Isla de Espiritu Santo, and its little companion island. We're going to stay there tonight. And then we'll move on up the coast tomorrow. Well, we stopped for the night. This is Ballena Island, Sloop Island. There's a lot of ballenas in Mexico. Apparently they sailed a lot of sloops. This is another bay called Ensenada Bay, which probably means bay, I'm guessing, or anchorage. Anyway, it's kind of cool. There's a bunch of cactus up there on the shore. Kind of a little bit of basalt. Obviously very volcanic. We're in 12 feet of water, 15 feet of water, with I think we've got about 45 to 48 feet of chain out. So plenty of chain. And we're gonna bed down here for the night and move on tomorrow. We have a neighbor back here in a little catamaran. Very cute. Had a little issue with our autopilot today. It was misbehaving. It sort of decided to oversteer, and then it crapped out. So I gotta look at our clutch wiring tomorrow morning, see what's going on with that. But it did error out, so it could be that it just sat so long or was without power long enough that it needs to be recalibrated. So we might end up just doing that, but I'll check a few things before we leave tomorrow. And that's it for this evening in beautiful Ensenada, Baja Ensenada. Well, here we are on day 2 of our exciting trip to Penasco from La Paz. That little bump of land back there is where we stayed last night. An incredibly rolly anchorage. I didn't sleep very much at all. I'm sure Robin didn't sleep very much at all, and neither did the dogs. So we are now leaving the Isla Espiritu Santo, which is that island there, and going past, I think this is the Isla Partidad, right here where we were going to stay last night, but we didn't quite make it. Partida? Partida. I stand corrected. And we're running with just the Genoa, and we're doing about 4 knots, which is a creditable speed for our boat. And we are heading for, way off in the distance, shrouded in mist, another island where we're going to hopefully find an anchorage that is not rolling. We're hoping. Anyway, so we've got about 25 miles to go. So that ought to put us there in about 8 hours. At this speed, so there we are. There's a little sailboat over here. Just doing his little sailing along, going around the corner there on Partida Island. And of course the dogs are on constant vigil looking for something to bark at. Tigger, Tigger, say something to the nice people at home. He's just too busy. And Ellie, He's just wishing that the boat was more flat. Well, it's just afternoon, and this is the Isla San Francisco, and it's separated from this other island by this little channel, and we are going right down here. There's a little point, and then we're going to go around that and go up to an anchorage on this island, which is basically a big park. They have a cactus forest, and then they have another protected area down the way. I don't know if we'll do a whole lot of exploring because it's pretty darn hot, but hopefully we will find a very nice protected anchorage and we won't be bouncing around like we were last night. And it's already pretty warm today, not as warm as it was yesterday though, so things are looking better. Well, hello, and here we are. We are about, I want to say about 100 miles north of La Paz, and we are in an anchorage that we came into day before yesterday in the afternoon. And we stuck around yesterday, and we've moved ourselves 3 times. Our original anchor spot back over this way. We at a certain point in the midday became swarmed with bees, honeybees, and not aggressive honeybees, just bees that were looking for water. And can't fault them for that. It's a dry area, even though it's an island where there's a swamp, a mangrove swamp that connects. This is actually a little island, and it's connected to the mainland just with a little swampy area. Well, it's not the mainland, it's another island as well. I think the island's name is Corbo, something like that, Corbon. There's 2 little parks on it. One's a cactus forest, and the other one is like a nature preserve. And we're down on the, what would be the south end of that island. I think we're anchored in about 15 feet of water with 5 scope out, and we're just behind this reef. This is, like I said, this is our 3rd anchorage. We tried to anchor down by the cactus forest, and that was a bad idea because there's about 1 billion of these biting midges down there. We took the raft ashore this morning, and it took them about a minute to find us, and we were just swarmed. And we tried walking inland from the beach a little. We thought, well, maybe they're just by the beach. No, they weren't just by the beach. They were everywhere. And we made it about 100 yards from the raft, turned an abrupt about face, and kind of headed back to the raft, came back out to the boat, and which was by then covered with bees again. We sat inside for a while, waiting for the bees. The bees are attracted to the dew that settles on the boat from being in the water in the morning, and they come aboard, and then they're trying to absorb that water, I guess, to take it back to the nest. And after a while, the sun dried that out, and they all kind of vanished, mostly, I think. But anyway, so we pulled up the anchor again, and now we're up here right at the there's a little point as you come in here, and a little sand spit right there, and that's the end of the sand spit. And then off a little bit further behind the sand spit, there's a light. If you're coming in here at night, there's a little light, so you have to navigate around that light and then come in, and then not hit this little rocky island over here, but other than that, it's a fairly well protected little area from swell, certainly swell from the south, which we're getting this time of the year. And we're going to head tomorrow morning early, because we have about a 36-hour sail. We're going to head down around that point down there and along the mainland to a place called Pyramid Bite. Ooh, something just came out of the water there. Not sure what. I've seen some fairly robust looking fish. There's also some rays around, and I've seen quite a few turtles in here. So anyway, we're going to go on down that way about 36 miles, and that'll be our halfway point. We'll overnight there and what's called Pyramid Bite, and then we'll make our way down to an actual bay where there's a town, and probably refresh our supplies. And from there we'll move on. So it's probably 2 or 3 days right there. I think we're on day 3 since we left La Paz, and we're not in any great hurries tonight. We're staying here tonight because it's supposed to kind of be blown up tomorrow night, which would have made our anchorage uncomfortable. So we're hoping for a little better night weather if we wait until tomorrow. And as I said, we're not in a big hurry. We have our reservation now in Penasco at the boatyard, and I'm still trying to find a person to build us a new compression post. I don't know that there's anything wrong with our compression post, but I would like to add a plate to the top of it, because I want to run the rigging down the mast. So right now all of our rig just kind of stops at the mast here, where the anyway, so it stops at the mast, and we want to turn it down at the bottom of the mast on a plate, and then run it through those already installed fairleads back through the Dodger to a winch that we have back there that we installed just for that purpose. And if we do that, then we could at least raise and lower our main from inside the safety of the cockpit, and wouldn't have to come out here on deck. We'll add a downhaul to it as well, so we could hopefully do some sailing from in the cockpit rather than have to come on deck. It's not bad coming on deck. It's pretty safe. We got a lot of grab holes, but it's always nice to have that option. And we bought line that was long enough just so we could do that, so why not? Anyway, that's what we've got for now. We're talking about maybe going for a swim this afternoon. Certainly we might even get out the spear guns and see if we could catch a fish for dinner. I'm not sure about that, but I've seen some big fish come up to the surface, and I know there's some in here. Later. Little dogs. We're trying to see if our new autopilot will work. It's supposed to follow that line. Well, we are leaving Puerto the Cat, where we really had a good time. We at least at the beginning when we got there, we got in the water right after we got there, had a nice cooling swim, and as we were swimming, a guy in a panga came up and asked if we wanted anything, water or fish or lobster. So we got some lobster, and for 25 bucks, or 20, well actually more like 27 bucks, we got 2 lobsters and a fish, and he filleted the fish for us, and it's in the freezer. And we had the lobsters last night cooked on the grill on a half shell and some veggies. It was very yummy. I would do that again. Anyway, these are the red rocks of that surround Puerto del Gato, which is a nice anchorage. except from when you got wind from the north or south, or swell from the north or south, because it's fairly shallow, as are a lot of these anchorages along this coast. They don't go back in there very deep. We are going to one that's deep today. We're going to Escondido, which is actually a marina area, and it's got a big hooked rock right as you come in with an anchoring spot. So we'll probably anchor there, and it's about 40 miles up the coast here, so it's about an 8-hour slog. We're supposed to get some medium to light breeze in a bit, after a bit, which should let us use our sails and not so much the engine. Did my engine checks this morning, everything looked good. Still, I always seem to lose a little coolant, and I think that is a byproduct of not having a built-in reservoir for when the coolant gets hot, because it expands. So one of these days, maybe in Penasco, we'll put a reservoir in if I can figure out a place to put it. It's fairly tight on that side of the engine, but I think there's room for me to do that and still get oil in the thing. Anyway, it's a beautiful morning. The sun's coming up over there, painting these lovely hills over here. Robin was saying this morning, and I think she's absolutely right, it looks a lot like the Grand Canyon, which, if you think about it, the Sea of Cortez is simply a continuation of the Grand Canyon. Really, it's just the same river comes out at the end of this thing, and you can see the beautiful red sandstone. I guess there's some fossils in there, and they have some hiking here, and certainly apparently some decent snorkeling. We didn't really take advantage of that because we just kind of was a night stopover. Anyway, I'm going to run downstairs and turn on my charger for my windlass. My windlass battery seemed awfully low this morning, so I got to look into that, and maybe better check the water level in there, because it's been hot, and batteries, lead acid batteries, which that is, tend to lose water in this environment. More later. Well, here we are in Puerto Escondido. We are on a mooring ball, which was $200 for a week, a little over $20 a day. And there's the marina over there. The big green tall building is the marina office. For those that are interested, they have showers that are free and laundry that's $7 a load to wash and dry. And you can, I didn't check what the prices were in the marina, but there's also a huge mooring field back over here. We took one that's kind of out in the front, because we kind of were hoping to get a little bit of a breeze. We'll hope it doesn't turn into too much of a breeze later. There's supposed to be some 20-knot winds coming in, but the entrance is very small and there's not a lot of room for fetch to build up, so I think we'll be okay. We might feel the wind, and we may have a slapping halyard, which we already have. So I might have to put a line on to make it stop, but other than that, I think we're okay. Well, here we are in a little cove at Escondido. There's Robin on the bottom doing a little snorkeling, and there's our anchor down there, and our boat is yonder. And this is kind of like what the landform looks like around Escondido. Scrubby with cactus, and we've got a few little mangroves here, and there's a whole bunch of perch looking fish down in here in the water. And I guess I'm going to get out and do a little snorkeling myself. So later.
stop.
Back there along the coast here, about 72 miles I think up to that point up there today. Left at 7 from Escondido, and it's I don't know if you can tell, it's hard to tell on the camera, but we've got this crappy little swell. It's about a 2-second interval swell, and the waves are maybe 2 feet, a little over 2 feet high, but it's really uncomfortable. It's like constantly being in a boat wake, and we sailed for I think probably a couple of hours after we rounded an island back there, and then the wind kind of died off, and now we just have this monotonous swell, and here's where we're going. There's our boat icon there, and we're going up around that point, and we're going to try to anchor around that point. Hopefully we'll get out of this swell, and tomorrow we got another 50 or so miles to get to the next place. Hopefully there'll be less swell there, because it's kind of around the corner down in the bay. So anyway, that's what's happening. Otherwise, everybody's just kind of hanging out and trying to stay cool out of the seems like pretty warm sun.